Where are we taking this initially? Or do you want to stay regionally, or are you open to growing this thing out nationwide? I mean, this is brand new, right?
Yeah.
The 5-unit deal is all in the Spokane in Washington, where you've sold your first franchise. Where do you want to be next?
Yeah, so I didn't even barely answer your previous question there, huh? So we opened the first store last year, May of 2023, second store, August of 2024. And we had 3 more in development that were corporate stores over in Spokane, and reassigned those to the franchisee. So he's a customer. He was coming by every single day. He owns a construction company in Spokane, owns a lot of real estate, and he's like, I want to build these things, I want to own them, and I want to grow this thing across the Washington state. So he's starting with 5 in Spokane, and he's hoping to have all 5 open within the next year and a half. And the first 4 open by the end of 2025. We were planning on growing regionally, just to keep them close to us so that we could learn the franchise model better, how to better support franchisees before going to Florida or something across the country that we may not be able to provide that top level support we were looking to do. But then we discovered a company called FranSmart, and Dan Rowe's company, and we partnered with them just a few months ago, just before selling the first deal to our franchisee in Spokane.
Okay.
And since we partnered with them, they have the experience that we don't. So they're helping us take this thing coast to coast. So it'll be nationwide. We're offering in every state that we're allowed to so far. So I think we have approval in 41 states now. But basically, my fears of experience and making mistakes to be able to support the franchisees as best we can are all solved by the partnership with them. They've developed over 5,000 stores between all of their brands. Like they franchised Five Guys, Qdoba, Halal Guys, a bunch of these other ones that grew large from their very first store. So this partnership with them allows us to grow faster and larger across the country. So they've got the systems to help us find real estate, get stores open on time, and to support the franchisees. Like they have an in-house CFO that could do financial modeling for franchisees so that they could see exactly what their costs are going to be, their cash flows, their opening schedule, everything. So it's that partnership with them kind of allowed us to just double down and go as fast as we can while still providing that top level support.
Yeah, well, I think just from hearing your story, you're still going to keep tabs on it and not let the thing grow too fast.
But yeah, I don't ever want to grow past what we're able to maintain for our proper quality. So nothing matters more than quality. The quality and consistency of the food is the most important thing in food franchises, and our support that we could provide to the franchisees. They pursue mostly multi-unit deals, usually a 5-unit plus deal of existing multi-unit franchisees. So we're not really going after the mom and pop single unit kind of things. So they've got that experience. Most of them have opened 5 or more stores themselves already, or 5 or more restaurants. So that by working with people who've got that experience, it is also a little bit easier. But between their team and ours, I mean, we've got a 20-man team that can help with the store openings. I think we're the most overbuilt franchise team that only has 2 stores open.
Well, I do like the multi-unit strategy for your concept. I think it makes sense. Sounds good to me. You have great support working with FranSmart. The ideal franchise owner, would you share with the audience on who do you think that is? Granted, it's going to be that multi-unit operator, but there's coming all different, people come in all different flavors, right? I mean, what do you think is the right person for your brand?
I mean, I want people that are passionate about what we're doing. So they've got to be passionate about a lifestyle of health and wellness. They don't have to be the fitness model or anything like that. But I think that everyone's starting to realize that health is wealth. And all these other guys, they own 50 Five Guys or McDonald's or whatever. They don't even eat that food. And when you realize that all these other owners could make just as much or more money owning a business in the same space that they are actually passionate about, or that they actually eat themselves, then I think that's going to be an easy sell to those kind of guys that aren't very passionate about what they already own. For our kind of criteria, what I look for when having conversations with prospective franchisees, because we've had a lot now already just in the few months partnering with FranSmart, we've got a good few deals that are going to close either before the end of the year or January. But I really just look for the growth mindset of being willing to learn and grow and improve, and the desire to be a part of our system and the desire to own healthy fast food. So desire and willingness to learn are the two most important things. We've always taught that to all of our managers. That's what we look for in people that work for us. And it's pretty much the same for looking for franchisees. We want to work with, I don't know what I can say, I guess, on this, but there's, I could say don't work with jerks. So don't work with people that you don't want to, it is a partnership in franchising. So I get a lot of fulfillment out working with high-level entrepreneurs. So not working with jerks is definitely a criteria. We want to work with people that want to grow with us. So the growth mindset is not just their ability to learn and continue to grow their personal development, but also to grow more stores with our system.
Yeah, I love your philosophy about that. And obviously not working with jerks. I think a lot of times when we start out in franchising, people think about just they want to sell their first one, right? Or they want to sell, they have a certain goal. They want to sell so many franchises in their first year. And they start to think, well, this person, how can I tell them no? They qualify, but you realize that it's going to be a marriage. Is your agreement like a 10-year agreement or something like that?
10-year with 2 5-year options. We've told no to a lot of people so far that they were not a good fit.
For you.
Didn't have the experience that we're looking for. Like I mentioned a little bit, I mean, we're trying to change the way people view traditional fast food, and that could be more profitable as well. Our store level EBITDA is for corporate stores is 35%. Our franchisees level off those 6 months would have been just over 26%. So we're really trying to get people to realize that fast food can be very profitable. Restaurants can be very profitable. And like you were asking what we look for in a franchisee, the reason we like people with the multi-store experience is that they're business owners. They say that 9 out of 10 restaurants fail within like the first 5 years or something. I don't know the exact stat, but I think that's because 9 out of 10 restaurant owners are chefs, not business owners.
Right.
So if you adjusted that stat a little bit for business owners, then I think it would be restaurants are a lot more successful and profitable. But that's why we're looking for people that want to learn the business side, not just make creative food, I guess.
Okay. Well, there's got to be people listening to this saying they're in the food service business and they heard those numbers. They're going to ask like, okay, how are you doing that? How are you pulling that off?
It's simplicity. So we don't have many operating costs. We have very minimal equipment, and most of it's controlled through labor. So I mean, if we keep a 30% cost of goods and under 20% cost of labor, which we're doing at all of our stores, like I mentioned, we did 16.7 at one of the stores. That's where a lot of people lose their profitability, is their staffing model, and that's not possible if you've got too complicated of a menu, too complicated of equipment, and we have all electric equipment. There's no hoods too. I didn't even mention that. So
really,
yeah. So we're hoodless, ventless. Depending on the jurisdiction, some might require it for our oven, but a Type 2 hood's all that's been required for anything so far. And the rest of the equipment is very simple. We only have one cook, and they're bored. So they're usually over on the line. And that's where like all these made to order concepts, they get too complicated of a menu. Like I said, I learned all these things from the food truck side. What we learned from food trucks is if you have a very simple menu, then you could do high quality food and control your labor costs. We'll never get a very complicated menu. Ours has some cross utilization of ingredients, but we really focus on the quality first, the quality food, and then adjustable staffing. I can't really see, outside of just insane turnover, how someone would be able to run one of these things over 25% cost of labor. They should, even in Washington, where it's the highest minimum wage in the country every year for the last 3 years, I think, we're still targeting a 20 to 22% cost of labor. So a lot of these concepts just don't really have that ability to change their labor percentages. And this was created with that in mind.
Well, you've proven this in a really tough market.
That's the plan. If it works in North Idaho, works in Spokane, then I believe it could work many other places. When we're looking at one of the deals we're going to finalize here soon is for a good bit of Arizona. And I can't wait to go there, where we don't have the seasonality issues with snow. We just have the seasonality with kind of the heat. But I'm really excited to get into these other markets. When we start talking to people across the country, everyone says the same thing. I wish our community had something like this. Sure, they might have some other healthy food concepts, but none of them have a drive-through. And definitely none of them have a drive-through where you can actually order at. Some of them have those pickup lanes.
Right.
But that is one of the biggest differentiators. And that's why I think that this is going to do well in any market across the country. Everyone just keeps telling us we need something like this near us.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.